Hey everybody, Adam Davidson, RadCast for Thursday, September 14th, 2023. So you want to build something. Let's say you want to build a tower. This is what Jesus says. Suppose you want to build this tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you. Ha ha, they'll say. This person began to build and wasn't able to finish. Or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. Won't he first sit down and consider whether he's able with 10,000 men to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000? If he's not able, he'll send a delegation while the other is still a long way off and will ask for terms of peace. He'll say, call off the war. We're not ready for this. We're underpowered. In the same way, Jesus says, those of you who do not give up everything you have cannot be my disciples. And that's the word of the Lord. This is a hard teaching. And what happens with us is we follow Jesus, and we have many different reasons for following Jesus. And I think they're all good. They're the right thing for us at the time. But then in our process and our growth of becoming a disciple, we realize this is really difficult because discipleship is not a hobby and it's not a department in our lives. It is our very chief identity as human beings. And we don't do very well with that because we identify as married people and parents and employees and friends, and we have certain social capital and all these things and certain reputations and things we're known for. And yet Jesus says your first and foremost identity is you are my disciple. And if you're not ready to do that, you're going to find that you have this unfinished foundation, and that's it. There's supposed to be a building on top of those bricks, right? There's supposed to be something there, and it never showed up because the builder didn't count the cost. They lost their funding, whatever. I think that our faith gets sort of shipwrecked or at least put on hold because we get into this long process of waiting for the next layer to show up because we haven't really surrendered everything. So listen to the language that Jesus uses here. He says, those of you who do not give up everything you have cannot be my disciples. Now, when we're talking about material goods, he doesn't say those of you who don't give away everything you have, although it may come to that. He says those of you who don't give up everything you have. Now, he might be talking about material goods. It's like, well, here's my phone and here's my coffee and, here's the mouse that I'm using right now for this. And I guess I just have to remember these things aren't really mine. They belong to Jesus. My truck and my house and my books and my musical equipment and all my my favorite boom boxes and vintage computers. It's not really mine. It's really just been entrusted to me. And that's true. And these are things that we need to be able to give up. But it's even more than that. It's that we need to give up even our identity as husbands or wives and parents and employees and the reputation, the social capital we have. Like even that stuff needs to be given up. That doesn't mean abandoned. Okay, that means that we literally give it up, right? That we say, this is important. Of course, I'm called to be a husband and a dad and all these things, and I take those things seriously because God has entrusted me with them, which reminds me that they've come from up to me, down, right? Down here. And now, as a follower of Jesus, as a disciple, I give them back up, which means that every day I surrender my role as a husband, as a dad, as a pastor, as a friend. All of these things, that these are important to my identity and they're even how people relate to me on earth, but they're not the most important thing. The most important thing is that I'm a child of God, that I'm a disciple. And that doesn't just mean that I got everything that, oh, look, God just takes care of me and I live in this palace and I'm this spoiled prince. No, it means that I've surrendered my life, that I take up my cross, that I follow Jesus daily. This is the challenge of discipleship. It is difficult. But as we follow him, and as we are set free from these identities as our core identity and find instead Jesus as our core identity as his followers, the world becomes strangely clear. It's like everything it's like everything that seems so important and gives us so much anxiety and so much ego and so much pride and arrogance, all those things just they're important, but they're not primary. They're not right here. They're kind of over here. And we love them and we value them. And if we were to lose them, we would mourn the loss, and rightly so. But it wouldn't destroy us. Like it would be okay because the thing that we identify with most, the core, is still there, and it's that we are his followers. So today, if you are not willing to give up everything, not just your stuff, but all the little pieces of you that make your identity, if you're not ready to give those things up to the Lord and surrender, you are not ready to be a disciple of Jesus. So you can't be his disciple unless you're truly ready to give up. You know what I mean? That's RadCast.